Man, I had so many topics that I wanted to start this episode off with, but I think that this topic is more important. Kirby Dach. The community has dogpiled him a little bit over on his Instagram where he had open comments. He had to turn off his comments. There's a lot of negativity surrounding him, and this guy has had a bad season. I mean, it's obvious. You can see it. He's making bad passes. He's giving away the puck. He avoids physicality at times. He's in his own head, and he's not confident. So if you're a real fan, what do? Do you jump into his comments and say derogative things about him, making threats? That's not what a fan does. So I'd like to squash that here. If there's stuff like that in my comments, just don't even bother posting it, guys, please. But if you're me and you're watching this game and you're blaming Dach for the outcome of this game and not the referees, are you even a fan of hockey?
It's hard to extract them from I loved our game, but I'm not going to talk about the refs. J'ai adoré notre match. Je parlerai pas des arbitres. Like I said, I loved everything about our game. I'm not going to talk about the refs.
Let's talk about it.
And Crosby just whacked it off with his left hand.
And another thing, how could you be disappointed with this game? Do you remember what happened with the last Rangers game? I mean, if it wasn't for these calls, they would have won. Plus, most of the game, they were dog walking them. They made them look like garbage. How could you be mad? There's another take that I could have went with on this as well, but it's the loser take. A lot of people say we should be tanking for draft picks. I don't like thinking about that. I mean, fair. Obviously, it's great to have a strong draft pick and a strong spot in the draft, but I don't know. I don't love that. I wish they would revise the draft pick rules or the lottery to make sure that there aren't teams purposefully tanking for a good spot. Actually, you know what? This might be a good topic to talk about in the conversation down below. If you were Gary Bettman, what would you do with the draft lottery? That's an awful way, actually, to start the video, asking you what you would do if you were Gary Bettman. I'm sorry that I put that image in your head. Please don't unsubscribe, please. In fact, I'd love for you to subscribe. If you're not already subscribed, hit that button, the subscribe thingy, the one with the bell even. It's the notification one. I would really love to have you in my channel. We've been doing great. I'm really scraping at 6,000 subscribers now. That's a huge benchmark for me. I didn't think that this would happen so fast. I mean, it's only been a few months and I've only just become monetized. So it's getting really fun seeing the numbers go up, right? So getting back to the game, I wanted to start things off with that Josh Anderson fight. This might be the fight of the year, but I think what we'll do is we'll holistically get to that fight as I do the recap. So let's jump into the recap. I'll tell you what happened during the game, and then at the end of the video, I'll give you my opinions. So starting things off, looking at the lineup, initially I was like, what is happening? What's going on here? But they did the same thing as last game, where essentially the first line got more minutes than the second, third, and fourth line. But they really shared like a middle amount of minutes. So hopefully you can see somewhere on the screen now that the first line was Caufield, Zooks, and Nui. Then we had Slav, Dvorak, and Gallagher. Then Hua, Dach, and Anderson. Finally, Heineman, Evans, and Armia. I'll mention actually that Evans played quite a few minutes. On defense, they tried Hudson and Matheson again, and I liked it. Then they had Gouli and Barron, which I thought was okay. I certainly wasn't noticing Barron for a lot of the mistakes that he was making. He did make mistakes, but anyway, we'll get to that. And then finally, Xhekaj and Savard, a solid defensive-minded line. And then we had Montembeault in net. So the game starts off, it's fast, frenetic. The energy level is very high in this game, and so high that Josh Anderson tells Jacob Trouba, hey, we have unsettled business. Would you mind if you stepped into my office?
Josh Anderson taking matters. Trouba, Anderson. And we wondered if there would be anything, and there is something. Set race. Josh Anderson gets... Anderson
fed him. I mean, Anderson is looking really good this season in terms of his fight record. It was a gentleman's fight. They both went to the box and they said, good fight. Hey, I got to give credit to Trouba. He took his licks and that was it. So both men served 5 for fighting. At 7 minutes, 22 seconds, Emil Heineman has to take a penalty on Chris Kreider for holding. He was in near the net. Could have been a really good opportunity for New York. I don't hate this penalty, but unfortunately what happens is they go on the power play and capitalize.
Across, Panarin drive and a save, Montembeault. Artemi Panarin leads the team in scoring, waits, wrist shot, score!
So that is Artemi Panarin with 13 on the season. He's now tied with Caufield. So at this point, as a Habs fan, you're like, well, damn, they can't do much about that. Artemi Panarin, I think he had 4 chances on that power play. You're going to give that guy 4 chances? I think they probably should have just had somebody devoted to covering him. But that's okay, because Mike Matheson gets an incredible goal. What a great shot by Matheson.
Gallagher back to work in the corner. Out of the reach of Jones. Gallagher in front. Had Dvorak. Up top, clean. Matheson score!
That's only his second of the year. He's having a tough time potting them, but I think he's doing good for assists. Yeah, he's got 12 assists. So 14 points in 21 games. Brendan Gallagher gets a helper on that one, and so does Slav. That's Slav's 12th assist. Josh Anderson is continuing the energy. If I'm on the Montreal bench and I'm watching Anderson out there, I'm getting pumped because he's throwing himself at plays.
Played along the wall. In comes Josh Anderson. Is feeling frisky in the afternoon game.
Montreal's getting some opportunities. My video's freezing. I'm pulling up my hair. So in the dying seconds of the first period, the Rags are pouring it on, and the Habs were able to get the puck out of the zone a couple of times, but they just kept getting zone re-entry. And I can't believe it because this happens quite a bit, it seems. But check it out.
5 seconds left. Rangers got to push quick. Wrister, deflected, score!
Vincent Trocheck pots one in 6th of the season just before the period ends. That's rough because you take that into the locker room. Second period starts. Josh Anderson's back at it again. He's doing what a lot of his peers of his stature should be doing, but don't. Then directly after this, he's interfered with blatantly.
The National Hockey League. And getting dumped was Anderson.
No call. No call for that one. This is basically where the refs kind of take over and decide how the game is going to end. I'm exaggerating a little bit. I don't actually think that they're like bribed or paid off or anything like that, but I mean, I can see why people think that way. So Josh Anderson's sitting on the bench. He's hot. He's mad. What does the announcer says something funny? I'll post it here.
The official just elected not to make the call because they didn't want to make one.
The Rags get a really good opportunity where Panarin kind of tickles the crossbar, but then the other way, the Habs are making things happen. Zooks and Caufield are trying to set things up, and not to be outdone, Slav tries to make something happen. But then again, the other way, Zibanejad is trying to silence the haters. So it's looking like a back and forth game, and we're not done yet. Matheson and Caufield are absolutely robbed. Grand larceny.
2 Habs in the vicinity, cutting in again, making moves. A shot stopped as Matheson trades. Follow-up.
Jonathan Quick still has it in him. How old is he now? Dang, he's 38 years old. So Marc-André Fleury is a little bit older. Quick was drafted 72 overall, 3rd round. He's had an amazing career. I haven't talked about Heineman in this game, and I'm not going to have very much to talk about. He did get some opportunities, and he was in the mix. But the one thing that's going to make me talk about him is this missed boarding call. If you look at Trocheck's face, he looks guilty. He looks like a kid that you find in the closet who pooped his pants. So, of course, after that missed boarding call, the refs call a fake penalty on Josh Anderson.
Josh Anderson has picked up a
Montreal penalty number 17, 2 minutes for roughing.
for roughing.
Not only is this a soft call, it's above that. If they were calling every one of these during the game, you wouldn't be able to watch it. It would be unwatchable hockey. This happens 400 times every single game, and they decide to call this. It's a little rich. So the team is furious. You can see the bench. They can't believe it. And on the power play, this happens.
Artemi Panarin at the line. Zibanejad faked the one-timer in. Wrist shot, score!
This one was really deflating for me because I've seen this happen already, 2 or 3 times this season, that the refs make a bad call during a key point in the game that just completely swings the momentum in the other direction. At least that's what I thought was going to happen, but the Habs did not leave up. Before the end of the period, there's a little scuffle in front of the New York Rangers net. Kirby Dach is assaulted. Quick smashes him in the face with his blocker. I thought maybe a 5-minute should have been assessed at that point. You're seeing a lot of things happen back and forth. Surely you're thinking that the refs are going to be on the side of Montreal with this, since Quick essentially escalated it. You're thinking probably a few of the Montreal players head to the box, a few head to the box for the New York Rangers, but one is assessed for a longer penalty, and Montreal maybe gets a 2-minute power play. No, you'd be wrong. No, the Rangers go on the power play. Martin St. Louis is losing his freaking mind. I'll see if I can watch this back and read his lips a little bit, but he's incensed. The third period starts. The Habs kill that penalty. Not long after, Zooks puts a puck right through the crease.
New hook with it in front. Suzuki time backhand and right.
And then before too long, Caufield cuts the lead down to 1.
Look out, Caufield with new hook shot, score! Cole Caufield, 3-2 game.
Amazing goal, great goal by Caufield. You want to see him making these shots, and of course Suzuki fed him, so that's great. Those two guys getting points tonight. But watch this next goal that ties the game.
Caufield drops, Hudson in across, Suzuki score!
Oh my goodness. Insert that Antonio Banderas reaction gif. The feed from Hudson. My gosh, can we get this poor kid a goal? Caufield also gets an assist on that. That means that Caufield is at 20 points in 23 games. Suzuki is at 22 points in 23 games. And that's Hudson's 13th assist. No goals, of course. We're still waiting for that goal. They don't let up. They get a bunch of opportunities. This one was a little bit painful. I mean, so many fans everywhere. Everybody is fanning. And it happened a lot during the game. There's a lot of fans from everyone. But check this out. So you're starting to think, yeah, we might see overtime here. But the way the Habs are playing, they're going to win it in overtime, if they even have to wait until overtime. But that is when the call happens that people are really upset about.
Joshua Waugh in for Montreal. Trouba there. Kirby Dach behind the net, and Kirby Dach is going to take a penalty.
Yeah, so they're calling this lazy. He could have got in front of his guy, shows some physicality. He got behind this guy and took a chance. And yeah, sometimes you make mistakes. There's no way that he wanted to hit him in the face, obviously. There's people out there acting like he wanted to high stick him, but it does draw blood. You can see that Zibanejad shows, but there is the presence of blood. I hate this friggin' presence of blood thing. Zibanejad does show the referee, and you can see the blood on his fingers. It's very short. There's individuals out there saying that there wasn't any blood, but there definitely was blood. We can't get the referees on that one. So that means Dach is in the box for 4 minutes. If they do make it into overtime, that's going to bleed over into overtime. So morale is pretty low, but the penalty kill gets to killing the penalty. It's looking really, really, really good. They're probably going to go into overtime here. It's looking that way because the New York Rangers can't really seem to get anything going. Montreal has a very strong penalty. I think 6th in the league at the start of this game. But Armia is tripped in the offensive zone, and then this happens.
Right side for Cooley, and Evans, again, couldn't chip it out deep. Jones cutting in. Evans backtracking, puck loose, side of the net, shot, score!
So again, there should have been a call on the play. Armia was blatantly tripped. Can't really get more obvious than what happened to him. He's certainly not embellishing. He flew up into the air. But even at that, even with the referees throwing it in their face, essentially doing everything they can to make sure that the Canadiens don't win, they still make an effort for it in the dying seconds. But ultimately, they don't come up with anything. And that's the game. Oh, so this could be a long video. I don't want to do long videos because people see a 20-minute long video. They're like a long form video. Hey, I'm just trying to eat breakfast here. I want to watch a 6, 7, 8-minute long video and get to work, you know? But I'm not about to start doing like part 2 or anything like that. So I'm going to say what I have to say. The refs definitely influenced the outcome of this game. And if you're mad about the outcome of this game, be mad at the referees. Be mad at how bad officiating has gotten in the NHL. Yes, they have a difficult job. It's hard to see everything, but when it's happening in the play, like at where the puck is, like you got to shake your head. Or when it's determining what calls to make after a scuffle, you have time to make those calls. Use your brain. And then to call something when it's a non-call, like I a lot of the times I will support referees. Like I will come out and say, hey, yeah, they have a hard job. They can't see everything. It's a fast game. You have to make fast decisions. But for everything that I just said, yeah, I mean, I'm sorry. It's reprehensible. This is within the top like 10 worst called games that I've watched this year. It might be like number 7 or number 6. Anyway, let's move on from that. What did I think of the team? What did I think of how everyone did? It's hard not to be happy with how the team did tonight. Like, this is the New York Rangers. This is the team that they lost to 7-2 on October 20th, 22nd. I just looked at the date that it happened. I don't have like photographic memory or anything like that. Anyway, they lost badly against the New York Rangers, and then they come back and they make the Rangers look bad, but the Rangers are essentially saved by the bad officiating. Martin St. Louis takes an interview after the game. He says that he's very happy with his team and he's not going to talk about the refs. Very cheeky.
Aujourd'hui, vous aurez peut-être mérité mieux, peut-être.
J'ai adoré notre match, mais je parlerai pas des arbitres.
Qu'est-ce que tu retiens de la façon dont vous êtes revenu en troisième période, particulièrement du travail du premier trio ce soir?
Ah ouais, non, on était là toute la game. J'ai adoré notre match, comme je te dis, mais je parlerai pas des arbitres.
You just did mention them twice. I mean, it's hard to extract them from.
I loved our game, but I'm not going to talk about the refs.
À 5 contre 5.
J'ai adoré notre match, je parlerai pas des arbitres.
In terms of, that's a tough break for Kirby, right? I mean, just his game's been coming along, and even tonight, I thought it looked good. Like, was that?
Like I said, I loved everything about our game. I'm not going to talk about the refs.
I think the league supports a rule where you're not allowed to condemn the refereeing. So by saying that he's not going to talk about the refereeing and he continuously says, I'm not going to talk about the refereeing, which is like a wink, you know? I'm happy with the team, but I am not going to talk about the refs. I love that. I think that's very honorable for him to say something like that because it just shows how much he supports the team. And while I do think that there are some people out there that will say, oh yeah, blaming the refs. Oh, that's cop out, cope. I mean, I'm thinking it. I think a lot of the fans are thinking it. Is that a bad take? I don't think so. Let me know in the comments. The standout player for me, I mean, I think it's probably Anderson. He brought so much energy to that game. Like they were looking pumped. I don't know if it was because of how Anderson responded to Trouba and then continued to press plays. But yeah, I just felt like he came out like an incensed bull, like he was going crazy. But that goal from Hudson to Suzuki. Anyway, I think I'm going to call it there because like I said, I want to kind of try to keep this video short and I think it's probably already going long. So like the video, helps me out with search results, algorithm-y stuff, watch page shenanigans. Subscribe if you're not already a whiskey fiend. And as always, I'll see you down below in the comments.